And speaking of, the opener with Jesse Chavez and then Strider coming in, we'll probably see that this week as well in the Padres series. But speaking of the upcoming week, we've got a 2-game stint against Boston at home, and sandwiched between that 2-game stint is 2 off days. We have an off day Monday and then an off day Thursday, so a good chance for a lot of rest for this team. I'll be interested to see. Obviously, I don't think it'll happen, but Max Fried could be in line to start Friday night for the Braves against the Padres. It would be honestly a 4-man rotation at that point, but he's got his 5th day. So it'll be interesting to see if they decide to do that or how they play that, if they want to give him a 5th day or an extra day rest if they want to. But we'll see on that one. If not, I think he'd pitch definitely on Saturday. But what we do in between that, we got Kyle Wright going for Boston against Boston, which was hoping he's improving off his last outing. Because I just feel like he just keeps getting better and better. The Mets game wasn't the way he wanted it to go. Obviously, I think he took the L in that one, but he's just been one of the best pitchers in the league for us on staff wise. So I'll look forward to that. Hopefully he can lead off the week with a win. And then Ian Anderson, has been pitching really well the past couple outings he's had. So hopefully he can build off that. I'd like to see him, we talked about this earlier this week, but I'd like to see him work on getting out of the first inning without having to throw 20 pitches and getting out of the first inning. Your typical 12 to 15, hopefully he can do that and, maybe get 6-7 innings from him. Boston was actually one of his first starts. I think it was Yankees and then Boston right after that. So hopefully, we see him come out and perform against Boston like he did in one of his first starts. So that matchup I'm looking forward to see if we can, take 2 out of 2 from Boston. And, we split with San Diego earlier in the year. So I'm hoping we can take 2 out of 3, if not sweep. I think that now a little more confidence after taking 2 out of 3 with the Brewers, I could see us sweeping the week and going 5-0. And it would be a nice boast of confidence, with the Phillies coming after that. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I could see us doing that, but another thing leads to that. We've got to get more consistent with our hitting. I feel like our pitching staff is there. And our bullpen has just been so good, aside from a couple outings that, we've got the chance as long as our offense can score a couple runs to win games and a lot of games.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with Boston, I haven't paid attention too much. I mean, the 2 starters that we've been putting out there, Whitlock, he's got a 1.25 ERA. That's nothing to sneeze at. And then Eovaldi kind of playing or pitching that second game as well. 2.94. He's always been a proven starter in terms of pitching. So to me, it kind of looked like maybe their offense is struggling too, which their offense is struggling too. I think we can capitalize on that with our pitching staff. But then, on the flip side, the Mets were struggling in that Game 2 game where they only were able to put up 3 runs, and we had 11 opportunities to knock somebody in, then we didn't do it. It's kind of like what you were saying, Nick, of make sure off boosting. I think that we could definitely go 2-0. I don't see why not. And then going into San Diego, they're coming here now. So it's a change of scenery. Plus, it was extreme. There were so many different weather conditions there. And then obviously kind of what they were talking about with like that ozone layer, I think how it's puts more moisture in the air. So it holds up balls more in terms of like, the grip. Obviously it's more moisture. You're able to put more spin on it, a little too much. Now we're back at home. We know what it's like. So I don't see why it's not a thing or why it shouldn't be a problem for us. But Nick, though, I know you had mentioned this previously, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. You talked about a rest day, but what's actually your thinking with a 4-man rotation with these 2 breaks we have, including tonight, Monday night, and then on Thursday night after that Red Sox series? What are you thinking with the 4-man rotation? How do you think it's going to play out, and how is that?
I wouldn't be opposed to it, especially since we have, the off day sandwiched in between San Diego or Boston's, the Boston game and then Boston and San Diego. I think it'd be a prime opportunity to keep Max on his rhythm of starting every fifth day. And then that would also set him up, I believe, for game one of the Phillies, the first time we see Philadelphia this season. And so to have him go game one, that's a 4-game series. And to have him go game one, and it's pretty much a lock that we would win that game the way he's been pitching. So I think it'd be strategically probably the best idea leading into this. But it'd be interesting to see what Snit does. Because, some of those pitchers, they need to be in a rhythm. They've got their routines and need to be out there every fifth day to keep that rhythm. So, I could see if Snit were to do that, but I could also see where he just wants to make sure that he gets the guys rest right now so he can save them for later on in the year. Which I'm not opposed to Jesse Chavez and Spencer Strider doing what they did on Friday, because they did very well for us. 5 scoreless, I think, was what it was, or maybe 6 scoreless. So I'm not opposed to them going out there and doing what they did with that either, but it'd just be interesting to see how they play it. I'd like to see, free pitch in the next 3 out of 4 series, but we'll see how that works. And I'd really love for Morton to keep doing what he's done the past 2 starts. He got off to a rocky start against the Mets, but, the later he got into that game, the more he looked like 2021 Charlie Morton. And then today he looked like unstoppable. And so it's nice to see that. I know I talked about it last week with him, but how he's given up way more runs through his first 30-some odd innings pitched this year than he has last year. And after I sent that, he just started shoving against the Mets. And then, today just, threw up a casual 0 in his start today. So hopefully he's back on track and picks up where he left off last season.
Yeah, I'd say he probably heard you, and that's what motivated him to pitch well. But we're so low market, he probably has no clue who we are. So I highly doubt he heard you. But if he did, what's up, Charlie? We'd love for you to come on the show. Kind of like what you were saying, Charlie, struggled extremely hard at the beginning of that Mets game, was able to get a lot out of him. And then today, like vintage Charlie, bases loaded, doesn't sweat about it. We get out of it. And just, he was getting more swings and misses today. That curve slider he has was kind of on point, and we were getting people off balance. And this fastball was there, of course. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what does the rotation look like with so many off days this week, and still that 5th man being unknown for right now, whether it's the Jesse Strider combo or, maybe Matzik getting in to build some confidence to start a game. I know he's been struggling a little bit lately, but we've seen him, struggle, for a stretch and then rebound and just become dominant for, an infinite amount of time. So I definitely think, like you said, there's no reason why we couldn't go 5-0 with the Padres. We've seen them. We kind of know what their team looks like, their makeup, and how we can kind of attack that lineup. I think Jackson Profar, that's the first time the Braves have ever seen him up in the major leagues whenever he had his first career homer.